We live in this crazy, fast-paced world where it feels like we're always looking at what's coming next. But what if the real key to understanding where we are, and even where we're going, is actually found by looking back? Let's get into why history really, truly matters.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way first. When you hear the word history, I bet a lot of you think about high school class, memorizing a bunch of names and dates for a test, just this dusty, old subject that has nothing to do with your life. But is that really all it is? What if we've been looking at it the wrong way this whole time?
I love this way of thinking about it. Forget the textbook for a second, and instead, think of history as an adventure, a journey that literally lets you travel through time and space. See, it's not about memorizing stuff, it's about exploring.
So what does a journey like that even look like? Well, it's about stepping into a world that is just completely fundamentally different from ours. A world where the things we take for granted, the most basic stuff like fire or farming, just didn't exist yet.
No, seriously, just pause for a second and try to picture it. Think about your daily life, cooking, staying warm, having light when it gets dark, all of that just gone. No controlled fire. It's almost impossible for us to wrap our heads around, but for most of human history, that was just reality.
And let's take it even a step further. What about a time before anyone knew how to farm? No grocery stores, obviously, but also no fields of corn or wheat. Your entire life, your whole society, would revolve around hunting for food and gathering plants. This isn't just a small tweak. It changes everything.
And that's the magic of history, right? It opens a door into these other worlds. It lets us see how people's entire lives, their clothes, their food, what they believed in, how they built things, were all shaped by a reality that is just so incredibly different from ours.
Okay, so history isn't just some fun trip to a different time. It's also about understanding the very ground we're standing on. The world we live in today didn't just pop into existence. It was built, piece by piece, over thousands and thousands of years.
Our modern world is the end result of this super long, slow process of change. It all starts with these big discoveries, things like fire, the wheel, or figuring out how to use iron. Now, these things didn't change the world overnight, no way. It was more like a slow burn, where societies gradually changed over hundreds, even thousands of years, until eventually the world we live in started to take shape. And here's the thing that's so important to remember. History is all about people. Our society was molded by the lives of all the folks who came before us, their good times, their struggles, their everyday problems. You could say our world is their legacy.
So when we talk about history, whose story are we actually telling? It's so important to get this. History is not just about the big names, the kings, the queens, the generals.
See, the real story of the past is about everybody. It's the story of how regular people live their lives. We learn about hunters and farmers, about artists and traders. It's the everyday stuff done by ordinary men, women, and children. That's what actually built the world we live in.
Okay, but how in the world do we know any of this? How do we piece together the lives of people from thousands of years ago? Well, the best way to think about a historian is to picture them as a detective.
Basically, their entire job is to hunt down clues and analyze the traces that people left behind. They're not just reading old books. They're actively investigating, trying to put together the puzzle of the past from whatever fragments are left.
So what kind of clues are we talking about? Well, they could be written things, like this ancient inscription. What does it say? Who wrote it and why? Or they can be physical things, like this amazing detailed carving. What story is it trying to tell us? Each little thing is one piece of the puzzle.
And the list of clues just goes on and on. Historians and archaeologists look at everything. Simple stone tools, bones, old coins, paintings on a cave wall. Heck, even things like old pots and pans can tell us a ton about what people ate, who they traded with, and what their technology was like. It all tells a story.
All right, so history's an adventure. It's a detective story. It's the bedrock of our present. That's all cool, but why should you care? Right here, right now. What's in it for you?
Well, at the most basic level, understanding where we all come from is a huge part of understanding who we are. Knowing the long story of our cultures and our world gives our own lives a kind of context that you just can't get anywhere else.
And maybe the biggest thing is this. Studying history makes you more empathetic. When you really try to get inside the heads of people whose lives are completely different from yours, you learn to see the world in totally new ways. It kind of forces you to step outside of your own little bubble, which can only be a good thing. So really, it all boils down to this one question. If you want to understand yourself, your community, and this complicated world we're all living in, then you have to understand how we got here.
The past isn't just a bunch of old stories. It's the key that unlocks the present. Thanks for diving into this with me.